Hey, welcome back. Continuing on with new comics, bitches! We have issue 3 of Jennifer Blood, which is rapidly becoming a new favorite of mine. Now, this is actually a variant cover. This is for one of the few times I think in my life, this is actually one time where I actually wanted the standard cover, because Tim Bradstreet, who does a lot of Garth Ennis work, does a lot of covers for him, did a really cool and kind of sexy original cover for this. But this is the Jonathan Lau variant cover. Jonathan Lau does the art for the Green Hornet series that's currently ongoing, and he's a great artist. And I really dig this cover, but I actually like the Tim Bradstreet cover better. But anyway, this we are delving more into Jennifer's her identity, who she actually is. We still don't have really too much of a clue of that. We still don't really know who the bad guys are. The issue opens brilliantly. It's totally hilarious. Her horny next door neighbor, who's a total idiot, but is totally full of himself. Basically, follows her into the bathroom at some family barbecue, and strips off his pants and starts trying to almost force himself on her. But she's trying to think of a way out of it. That's something that a normal housewife would do, but of course she starts imagining, all the things that she can do to him, which is like gouging out his eyes and, pushing, throwing him out the window and, pulling out his heart. I mean, just all of the kind of, killer stuff that she can do. But basically we have, like I said, more of her identity is coming to light. Apparently she seems to be related to some of the villains that are being that she is meting out this very extreme justice to. And she is somebody who is apparently kind of coming back from the dead, as it were. Not in a literal sense, where she is actually, a crow type character. But, she was somebody that they believe to be dead, but she is still alive. And she is really pissed off at these people, whoever they are. We know that they're powerful. They seem to be from probably, like an Eastern Bloc country, like the Balkans or, Yugoslavia, Russia, something around there. So we don't know who they are yet. We do know that she's going to have some pretty interesting, some pretty interesting opponents in probably the next issue. But she pretty imaginatively dispatches one of her enemies. It's really it's primo Garth Ennis stuff. There's enough humor in it to keep it light. There's enough violence in it to keep it dark, and there's enough there's just enough exposition in it to keep it moving forward. So, Jennifer Blood, I've loved Garth Ennis since I really started reading him. The only series of his that I haven't really read was Hitman, and I feel kind of bad about that. That's something I should probably get a hold of soon, so, check out. But anyway, so that's good stuff. So moving on, we have X-Men, Prelude to Schism. Now, essentially in this I thought was a really cool issue of the X-Men. Now, okay, admittedly, I'm not following the X-Men. I don't intend to really. I don't know if I intend to keep following them, but this was an interesting issue. I got it mainly for the fact that it's really centered on the relationship between Cyclops and Professor X. Because Cyclops is the leader of the X-Men, which is something that always pissed me off about the films, the X-Men films, is that they never seem to portray Cyclops as he actually is, which is he is the field leader. He's not, this kind of pseudo incompetent guy that always gets upstaged by Wolverine. Wolverine always has to come in and save the day. He's the guy that could really take care of business. And he's the guy that won the heart of Jean Grey, and yeah, Jean Grey was attracted to Wolverine, but never. Well, she did act on it sometimes, but not really. But really, her heart belonged to Scott, to Cyclops, and this, like I said, this goes through a lot of periods of time in Scott's life, and just the, like I said, the very, kind of father-son relationship that Cyclops and Professor X have had over the years. Now, something apparently very bad is coming to Utopia, and this is kind of what Scott's defining moment will be. So that is where I am intrigued, and probably where I will, pick up a couple issues here and there, as long as they are centered around, focusing on Scott's character. Because that was one of the great things that I loved about Whedon's run, the Whedon-Cassaday run on Astonishing X-Men, because a lot of it was, was about Scott Summers. Even though, obviously the character that Whedon liked to write more than anybody else was Kitty Pryde. He really also did a great job of making Cyclops really relevant and cool again. So, hoping that continues. Okay, so on to The Boys, number 54. So more Ennis. This issue is not very good, and I'll tell you why. It is exposition hell. It is literally about 24 pages of just talking and flashbacks, and I mean, it's so filled, it's so mired in exposition, because Huey is talking to God damn it, I can never fucking remember his name, but the guy who was part of the Boys until he left, kind of retired, but he's been, he's been in, he was in World War II, he's been seeing kind of the shitty side of Vought American for a really long time. He is one of the first agents of the CIA. This character, who unfortunately I cannot remember his name, it's just so jam-packed with exposition that it's hard to get around the fact that it is so talky. I mean, normally this is not a very normal Ennis type of issue. Normally, okay, well, there's, again, like in Jennifer Blood, there's humor, there's action, and there is exposition, and he blends the three very well together, and drama and everything like that. But it's not. This is so overwrought in its exposition. I can't stress that enough. How really boring of a read this was. I was very frustrated, but it is leading up to basically how the Boys start. How they really started way back when, whenever that was, and the introduction of, basically the first guy that they were looking at, which is Billy Butcher. So, obviously I'll continue reading it. I'm looking forward to, finding out, more about Butcher's origin, where he came from, but this was definitely not a high watermark for for Ennis's run on the Boys. So, but like I said, I'll continue to grab it. So, anyway, we're gonna be back after the jump with a couple more comics, and of course our the big one of the big things this week, which is we've got three Fear Itself titles that we're going to be talking about. So stick around. We'll be right back.